I will now show the assembly of the microcontroller on a blank board. Unlike previously, I'm using a lead-free solder paste because the wetting capacity obviously wasn't very good. This might be caused by that this board on the exposed pads has a tin finish, has not a tin finish but a silver finish, and because the leaded paste only contains lead and tin but no silver, this might have caused difficulties with wetting the pads. So now switch to a solder paste from Quick Chip, no clean lead free, 96.5% tin, 3% silver, 0.5% copper. And then start with putting some paste in these two corner pins, where I plan to drop the chip into so that it kind of sticks in the paste before I solder them. Pin 1 marker, not forget, it's here the circle on the PCB and here the lower part, this circle on the chip. I'll now try to lift the chip and drop it into the right position so it's getting stuck in the paste. Almost. I'm doing the fine placement such that everything is getting aligned properly. Looks like we could give the solder iron a try. We moved it a little bit, but still on tolerance. I'm trying to push down the chip and heat it again. Yeah, this looks good. So, positioning is there. Now I'll try to solder this row of pins, and we'll start with spreading a very thin line of solder paste. So actually initially it was too much, so I'll try to remove this here. That looks better. Now I'm trying to heat pin by pin and hope they're getting soldered properly. They're probably going to form a bridge, which we have to remove later. So here you obviously have too much solder alloy. So I'm grabbing solder wick and try to get rid of that. Just be careful not to solder the wick onto it. So this looks way better. Except that I'm not certain that these pins actually do still have enough solder under them. So I'll try to add a little bit more. Should almost have even a finer needle for this. This should be good. Here you see that I have quite a bit too much solder on the corner pin. So let's remove that even before we start with that side. So readjusting the microscope. Zooming in a little bit. What you can see here is that these two pins, the second and the third here, actually are connected on the PCB. To compare a blank PCB, here you see the connection. So if these two form a bridge, which they most probably will, we'd rather not try to get rid of it because it's almost impossible. And of course it doesn't hurt because they have to be connected anyways. Looks good to me. What you can also do is push a little bit on the pins and see whether they move. Of course, if they're soldered properly, they shouldn't move at all. So let's go to this side. Here we don't have any bridges at all between the pads, so we shouldn't have any of them even after soldering. It's a messier way of distributing solder paste. First bridge already. Bridge is gone. That's better. So, 3 out of 4 edges done. Here again we have a bridge in the layout between this and this pin on here, and way too much solder paste on the initial placement solder joint. So let's start with removing that. Getting out on the fingers. Good. I see that I have a bit of misalignment here. Can try to pull the pins around, bend them into place a little bit. That looks better. Paste's coming. Well, I have a little bit of a mess over here. That's the 2 ones that have a bridge. Now I have probably a bit too much paste on the solder iron, so let's clean it. Second to last. And last pin, a little bit of heating here. And everything great. Now, of course, we should verify the whole thing again. See whether we messed up. Again, to verify this bridge up here is okay. And I want to see whether there's something between here. Nope, looks good. So, we should have successfully soldered the most difficult part. Now, just for fun, let's try the quartz again, the crystal, this guy. Here we go. Here we previously learned that it's way better to solder this guy before we solder the DFU switch, because that's going to be in our way otherwise. Try to put some solder paste in all 4 pads. And just to mention again, the polarity doesn't matter on quartz crystals. And now we should be able to heat this from the side easily. Well, easily. It seems to be working. Yeah, that's fixed. Good as well. Hopefully good as well. This one is a non-connected one, so it won't matter anyways. Hard to reach with this tip.